Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's 2022. You want to hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you know every time I post. Alright, hey, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we're gonna do the 2019 HSB paper, which is actually in the title. So reading is fundamental. So plants obtain nitrates, that's number one, of course. Plants obtain nitrates, A, directly from nitrogen gas, B, by the process of photosynthesis, C, when nitrates diffuse into the stomata, or D, by absorbing nitrates through their roots. Now, first of all, nitrates are ions, and ions are or minerals are passed into the plant through the roots through the process of active transport, right? So the answer for this is D, by absorbing nitrates through their roots, basically getting it from the soil, right? Then you have number 2, which of the following is an example of a terrestrial food chain? And terrestrial food chains have to do with food chains on land, right? So any aquatic organism would not be a part of this. So seaweed, fish, seagulls, pondweed, tadpole, fish, pondweed, tadpole, or duck, those are all aquatic organisms. So the answer for this is C, plant, grasshopper, bird. Number 3, in which of the following structures does photosynthesis occur? Photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast. For the ribosomes, that's the site of protein biosynthesis or just protein synthesis, right? Golgi body is for lipid or fat synthesis. And the mitochondria is for cellular respiration. Now, item 4 refers to the following diagrams, which shows a red blood cell before and after being placed in concentrated salt solution for 1 hour. Now, if we place a cell in a concentrated salt solution, that would mean there is more water within the cell than outside of the cell, so there was more solute concentration outside. That would mean that water will move out of the cell into the more concentrated salt solution in order to dilute it in an effort to get the conditions on both sides the same, right? So your answer should have the change in the red blood cell shown in figure 2 after 1 hour occurs because water, as I said, moved out of the cell. So find whichever answer says that. So we have leaves the cell by osmosis, enters the cell by osmosis, leaves the cell by diffusion, and enters the cell by diffusion. Diffusion is definitely not the answer because the cell membrane here, acts as a semi-permeable membrane or surface for the water molecules to pass through, and remember, it's the water molecules that move, solid particles never move. So your answer have to include osmosis. So now we've reduced our chance of getting this right to about 50%, and once you had already gotten this theory in your head properly mapped out, it shouldn't be hard for you to get leaves the cell by osmosis, right? So I always encourage to have an idea of what the answer is before you look at the choices given for multiple choice. It makes you less likely to make a mistake. Now, item 5 refers to the following aquatic food chain. Aquatic is the opposite of terrestrial. So terrestrial for land, aquatic for water. So we're looking at organisms that reside or live in water. So we have the phytoplankton, then the zooplankton eating the phytoplankton, and I hope you realize that the arrow points towards who is doing the eating, and it's always that way in a food web, in a food chain. So yeah, for your paper 2s, keep that in mind. Zooplankton, fish, water bird. So the producer in this food chain is the first organism. So in a food chain, the producer is always the autotroph, the one that has the ability to produce its own food, and it's usually the first member of the food chain. The second member here would be the primary consumer, right? And usually a herbivore, right? So only eats plant or plant material. Then the third member is a secondary consumer. The last one is either the tertiary consumer, or in some cases, depending on whether it's a food chain or food web, the apex predator. Alright, so the producer in this food chain is the phytoplankton, the first member. So to which of the following food groups do oats belong? Now, oats are wheat, like wheaty materials, so like fibers. So we'll go with staples, carbs, staples. Which of the following statements is true about pepsin? Now, if you don't know what pepsin is an enzyme that breaks down proteins in the stomach, right? And it's close to the only enzyme that works at an acidic pH at about 1.5 to 2, right? So, and that's caused by HCl in the stomach. So the acid in the stomach is HCl, along with other gastric juices and such. So pepsin is secreted in pancreatic juice, converts proteins to amino acids, converts proteins to polypeptides, or functions best in alkaline condition. So it's safe to rule out for one that works best in alkaline conditions. No, it works best in acidic conditions, and it is definitely not secreted by the secreted in pancreatic juice. It's secreted from the parietal cells of the stomach, and so we're left with a 50% chance again. And as I said, these are better odds than a 25% chance. So either converts proteins to amino acids or converts proteins to polypeptides. Now, pepsin breaks down proteins, as I said, into smaller subunits, so into small peptides or amino acids. So the answer here is B, and definitely not C, because polypeptides are another name for proteins. So polypeptides are simply long chains or long subunits connected of peptides or amino acids, and hence we create a polymer of the monomer here, which are polypeptides. So B is your answer. Which of the following vitamins can be produced by the skin as well as obtained from food? That's vitamin D. Yeah, vitamin D. Vitamin D, whenever you're exposed to sunlight, your keratinocytes are able to synthesize vitamin D, and you can get vitamin D as an essential vitamin from, say, citrus fruits and such, like oranges, grapefruits. Yep. So number 9, or item 9, refers to the following pie chart, which shows the proportions of food groups in a balanced diet. View your key first, so identify where everything is. So that's the carbohydrates, your fruits and vegetables, that's a real shaky line around here. Fats right here, and proteins right here. Now, a person diagnosed with diabetes or diabetes mellitus, there are actually 2 types, well, not 2 types, but should increase fat intake, reduce protein intake, decrease carbohydrate intake, or you should increase food and vegetable intake. The ideal thing is to reduce carbohydrate intake, because having diabetes means you have high glucose levels, which is a high sugar level in your blood, right? Well, that's hyperglycemic, but that's the general thing. And carbohydrates are broken down into their monomer, which is glucose, which is sugar, right? So you want to decrease your carbohydrate intake. Number 10, which of the following teeth aids in grinding food into smaller pieces? The back flat ones. So those are your molars and your premolars, right? So those are for grinding. Your incisors are for cutting, and your canines are for tearing meat. Anything else? Well, that really need tearing, to be honest. Kwashiorkor is a deficiency disease caused by lack of proteins. So you need to know that. So these are protein deficiency diseases, kwashiorkor, and another one is marasmus. Well, it falls under protein deficiency in your syllabus, but marasmus isn't ideally only a protein deficiency, but really marasmus refers to starvation in general. Which of the following represents the correct sequence of events in the formation of a dental cavity? Alright, so first of all, a dental cavity is your regular old cavity. Forms a hole in your teeth getting all the way down to your pulp cavity where your nerves are, and that's why you feel a lot of pain. So you don't want your cavity to get that bad. So first you have plaque formation. Then your enamel will decay because that's the top layer of your teeth. So let's say, forgive me if my tooth isn't drawn properly. I'm doing my best. Okay, so that's your tooth. So first you most likely have the buildup of plaque on it. Should I use yellow, but whatever. And this will cause the burring of the enamel, which is the topmost part of your tooth. And once you get down to that, you get into the dentine, past that into the cement, and then into the pulp cavity where the nerves are. Once you get that far, then we start to feel pain, and abscess will develop. An abscess is a pus-filled space for the most part. So it should be in the order going that way. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So this one. So D would be your answer for number 12. 13, I see the accessory organs. Some accessory organs for your digestive tract, and that's true. It's the digestive tract. And you have the main alimentary canal, running through the stomach and thing. So item 13 refers to the following diagram, which shows a part of the human digestive tract. Maybe, it depends on how fast you work. You can actually label these parts when practicing. When practicing, just label them so you can actually practice that. So A here is the gallbladder. I think it's 1L anyway. So the gallbladder, that's for storing bile. If only I can remember the mechanism. This here, B, is the beginning of the small intestine, which is the duodenum. The middle part is the jejunum, and the last part of your small intestine is called the ileum. So you can remember that. This leaf-like structure is called the pancreas. The main function of the pancreas is to secrete different types of hormones, which aids in digestion. And C is your stomach, el estómago. Once you've gotten that down, which organ is responsible for the digestion of protein only? The best answer to go with here is C, for the stomach, because the hormone available in the stomach for digestion is pepsin, and that's for digesting proteins, while your small intestine, even though it has trypsin, which digests proteins as well, also has amylase secreted from the pancreas, so it's called pancreatic amylase, used to further break down starch that wasn't completely digested in your mouth. Yeah, and also bile is secreted through this little duct here. You don't need to know the name, but it's called the ampulla vata, I believe. So secreted into the small intestine, you have bile, which emulsifies fat, which is actually, you think it's chemical digestion, but that's actually mechanical digestion. So the emulsification of fat by bile is mechanical digestion. Also, churning of chyme or chyme in your stomach is mechanical, and chewing or mastication in your mouth is also mechanical digestion. Now the further digestion or breaking down of molecules using the enzymes, that is chemical digestion. So keep that in mind. The process of egestion is defined as the removal of anything that is undigested. So undigested waste, you're often, so take out toxic and non-toxic waste. The toxic and non-toxic toxic waste and non-toxic waste is usually taken care of by your liver and the kidneys, right? And the metabolic waste is excretion, also taken care of by your kidneys. So you need to keep that in mind. So that's the difference. Metabolic waste is excretion. Undigested waste is digestion. Egestion. Yeah. So 14 is D. So item 15 refers to the following table, which shows the functions of some of the respiratory system. So structure I filters warm and moist air. C prevents food from entering the trachea. You can even start filling some of these out, as you know. This is the epiglottis. The epiglottis prevents you from choking. So whenever you choke, that's actually food material getting sucked into your trachea, your airway. And you cough in order to remove whatever unwanted particle got in where it's not supposed to be. So your epiglottis acts as a door, and sometimes I wouldn't say failure, it happens when you're talking. And you shouldn't be talking and eating, because really when you're speaking, you're inhaling and exhaling. So it's allowing your epiglottis to flap. So eating and talking allows an open epiglottis, so food is more likely to go into the wrong tube. Not your wrong throat, your wrong tube. 3 provides air passage to the lungs. That's your trachea. Also could be the bronchus or the bronchioles or so I'll say bronchus or trachea, that whole pipeline there. IV produces sound with the voice box or vocal cords. That sounds like your vocal cord. Oh, I said vocal cord, so the answer is definitely larynx for this one. So this is the larynx. And filters warm air and moist air. This is either the whole nasal passage really, or the pharynx. But let's see, the structure is labeled I, and IVR. So I'm sure about IV, and II, so I'll do it in that order. So I'm looking for larynx. Why did I say brachia here? But bronchus, right? Larynx, bronchus, or trachea. So this one, that's the only one saying that. This one definitely need epiglottis at 2, so nasal passage at 1. So yeah, the answer for this is C. Number 16, which of the following reagents is used to test for glucose? Benedict solution. Know these like the back of your hand. Now, whenever you're testing for, alright, Benedict solution, it has copper sulfate. Iodine is for starch. You use the BIU, RET, burette test for proteins, and ethanol or grease paper test for fat. And I think that's it. I don't remember if there are any more. So 17 says to deliver mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, the following steps should be taken. Press the head back with one hand and push the jaw upward with the other. 2, pinch the nose and seal your mouth with the casualty's mouth. The casualty is the person you're performing the technique on. 3, give 4 quick blows into the casualty's mouth and repeat every 5 seconds. And 4, place the casualty on the back. The first thing you want to do is place them on their back, because it's going to be pretty hard to perform mouth-to-mouth resuscitation if they're on their side or on their stomach. Then you want to put the head back along the jaw to be upward. Then you want to pinch the nose and seal the mouth. Then you want to blow. You can't really blow before you pinch the nose and seal the mouth, because then what you're going to do, where the air going to go. So you need the answer to be I. So look for that one. I. So D for this. Number 17. Number 18, which of the following is not a characteristic of gaseous exchange surfaces? Gaseous exchange surfaces, they have to have a thin surface, have to be moist and well supplied with gases. They need a large surface area. That is why you have folds in your alveoli, to increase the surface area. So the answer for 18, being that I said not, is C. Number 19, which of the following substances found in cigarette smoke is addictive? That's nicotine. Item 20 refers to the following diagram of a cell. So the diagram here is most likely a phagocyte. First of all, it's definitely not a red blood cell. Red blood cells are definite in shape, and they are we describe them as biconcave, because you have like a little depression in the center. So it's not a liver cell. Liver cells are more cuboidal. And phagocyte, because it has the little depression here. Lymphocytes are more regular shaped, I guess. They don't look like they have an arm ready to capture you. So yeah, I guess you'd have to look at the different types of cells to know this. Now you have item 21 refers to the following incomplete table, which shows blood vessels and the organs they supply. Now I guess you'll fill these out, so let's just fill them out right now. So the lung blood vessel. Okay, so the blood supply is brought to the lungs to the pulmonary artery, the only artery really that takes deoxygenated blood. So it takes it to the heart, to the lungs to be oxygenated, then back to the heart through the pulmonary vein. Hepatic artery. Hepatic refers to the liver, so anything hepato is for the liver. The intestines, or the gut, is for the mesenteric artery. Renal refers to the kidneys, so we're looking for these answers. We're looking for pulmonary artery, liver, mesenteric artery, and kidney in that order. So the answer looks like C to me, because that's the only one that starts with pulmonary artery, but still check. Pulmonary artery, liver, mesenteric artery, kidney. Very good. So we got that easily done. Now 22, which of the following best describes the function of a pacemaker in the heart? The pacemaker is used to regulate your heart rate. People usually get artificial pacemakers if their sinoatrial nodes aren't working properly. So your sinoatrial node is your heart's natural pacemaker. Fun fact. So high blood pressure most likely leads to cardiac problems, because it's a part of the cardiovascular system. So if you have like an artery and plaque builds up on the walls, that's atherosclerosis. People often mix these up. So atherosclerosis But once the plaque hardens and allows the walls of your arteries to harden as well, that condition is called arteriosclerosis. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is spelled properly. So, yeah, arteriosclerosis, and this reduces the area for blood to flow, therefore increasing the pressure in your arteries. And once the pressure increases, it puts a bit of strain on your heart and leads to cardiac problems. And the fatal thing that you really don't want to happen is a cardiac arrest or heart attack. For 24, blood pressure is highest in the arteries because they have to pump blood away from the heart to extremities of the body with the greatest force, right? So that it can actually get there. So look for arteries and you found your answer. So the arterioles and venules are like branches towards the capillaries from either the vein, so veins to venules, then capillaries, then from capillaries to arterioles, then to arteries. Not necessarily in that direction. It could be the other way around, from arteries to arterioles, to the capillaries, then to venules, then to the veins. Blood flows in that direction actually. So 25, which of the following diagrams represent the pelvic girdle? This here looks to me like the scapula, the clavicle, and this looks like a part of the cervical vertebra or vertebrae. Now the pelvic girdle is definitely this one here, but we can actually look at the rest. This is actually part of your vertebral column, right? So your spinal cord runs through this area here, the whole, not the thing there. And this is your sacrum, the actual end before you get to the coccyx or the coccyx, whatever you call it. Also a part of the vertebral column, right? So the answer for 25 is B. The function of marrow in long bones is to produce red blood cells. It depends on which marrow you're talking about, though, but guessing that because they're so vague, they mean red bone marrow, and that's for red blood, the production of red blood cells. Now you have yellow bone marrow or fatty bone marrow. That's to produce fat as well, or to store fat, sorry. And 27, muscle groups that oppose each other to produce movement are described as antagonistic, right? So look for that, and we got C. So examples of antagonistic muscles would be like the hamstring and quadriceps, the biceps and triceps as well. Yeah, so items 28 to 29 refers to the following simplified diagram of a kidney tubule. So for the most part, A is an artery, and we would say that's the vein. B is the Bowman's capsule, and C would be the proximal convoluted tubule. Then continue, we'll get to the distal, the loop of Henle, then the distal convoluted tubule. Let's exercise the point right now. So in answering items 28 to 29, each labeled part may be used once, more than once, or not at all. 28 asks us which labeled part collects the filtrate from the glomerulus, and that's the Bowman's capsule. So your answer for this should be B. Which labeled part brings blood to the glomerulus? It's A. Is it afferent? I think it's the afferent artery. 30. Which of the following joints allow movements in all directions? You need a ball and socket joint, so it cannot be the knee because the knee is a hinge joint, and so is your elbow. And your shoulder is a ball and socket joint. Your ankle is condyloid, I believe. It only allows movement in two planes at a time. Like you don't have rotational movement like your shoulder does, or free rotation like your shoulder does, but Yeah, I guess if you're ever stuck in your exams, test it out on your body. You have like the answers literally with you. Your body is always a good resource. So check things like check your answers using your body. So 31, the part of the skin which acts as an insulating layer would be your subcutaneous fat. But let's just holding heat in the body is, oh, it's right there, it's the subcutaneous fat. Yeah. 32, which of the following is an involuntary action? Eating, walking, breathing, or riding a bicycle. Involuntary actions are the things you don't really think about, but your body does them anyway to keep you alive. So like breathing, blinking, secreting hormones and things. I'm sure there are a lot more. I'm sure. They're just not coming right now. Which of the following actions occur to bring about accommodation in the eye? Accommodation is where your eyes actually adjust to see things far away and close, right? So if you have things close, something really close to your face, the lens of your eyes should, the ciliary muscles should actually, what do you call that now? Relax, right? And if things are far away, it will contract and stretch a bit. So tighten the suspensory ligaments through relaxation of the ciliary muscles, loosening the suspensory ligaments through the relaxation of the muscles, tightening the suspensory ligaments with no change in the ciliary muscles. That's definitely not the answer. Loosening. Alright, the ciliary muscles do change, right? So it's either it tightens or it loosens, right? And when the ciliary muscles relax, the suspensory ligaments are pulled and tightened in order to change the diameter of your lens. So the answer is A. As I said, rule out the ones that are definitely not correct and give yourself a 50% chance of getting the answer right rather than a 25%, right? So 34, which of the following hormones is responsible for causing the liver to convert excess sugar to glycogen? That's insulin. So insulin is used to lower blood glucose levels, while glucagon is used to rise the blood glucose levels. Antidiuretic hormone, also known as ADH, helps with water balance in your body. So yeah. Which of the following statements is not true about the endocrine and nervous systems? They both respond to stimuli. That's true. Your endocrine system responds to stimuli using chemical signals, while your nervous system uses electrical signals. They're both responsible for coordination and control of the body. In a sense, yeah, but I'm not ruling that one in yet. They both have specialized cells for transmitting and receiving information. That's true. They both have the same response time for transmitting the receiving information. That's definitely not true. The endocrine system takes a lot of time. So basically, if you need things in your body that requires quick responses are dealt with by your nervous system, while slow responses are dealt with by your endocrine system. So yeah. Which of the following hormones plays a major role in the growth of humans? That's actually growth hormone, but it depends. So it's not hold on. It's not adrenaline. It's not adrenaline. Dun, dun, dun. So I said it's not. I can't find my pen. So it's not adrenaline, as I said. I definitely don't think it's insulin or glucagon. As I said, growth hormone is a primary or hormone for growth, but thyroxine is my next go-to answer because that's a thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormones play a role in metabolism and such. So yeah, thyroxine. I probably should have put more emphasis on that X, like thyroxine. That was sorry. Item 37 refers to the following diagram, which represents the front view of the male reproductive system. I guess we can label number 2 is the urethra. Don't mix that up with the ureter. The ureter is the thing from the bladder. So this right here is your ureter. So number 2 is your urethra. 3 looks like the prostate gland to me. The number 1 is your sperm duct. And 3 seminal vesicle. I don't remember. But let's see. 1, 2, 3. So I'm definitely sure about 2. So I want to look for urethra first. So it's right here. And nowhere else. I really don't have anywhere else to look. But I can check the rest. Number 3 is the prostate gland, as I said. Number 1 is the sperm duct. And number 4 is the seminal vesicle. So I was correct on all 4. So sperm duct. 38. Which of the following is the correct sequence of activities that occurs when a person picks up a plate? So picks up a plate would be the effectors last. So number 3 has to be last. Effectors contracts or relaxes the muscles to pick up the plate. So this should be your 4th. So A and B definitely not the answer because it has to end with 3. Now they say touch receptors in the skin and eye keeps the brain informed to coordinate, or impulses are sent down the white matter of the brain through the spinal cord to the arm. Eyes keep the brain informed. So I would go with 1, then 4, then 2, then 3. 39. Sexual reproduction is defined as the production of offspring by mitosis. That's not sexual, that's actually cloning, so asexual, right? Fusion of gametes would be the answer. Fusion, not fission. Fission of gametes would be the splitting of a sperm and an egg cell, so definitely not that. Fusion of zygote. A zygote is what is formed after the fusion of gametes, which are sex cells, which is the sperm and the egg cell. So the answer for this is B. 40. Which of the following methods of contraception functions by preventing sperm from entering the uterus? Well, look at me. It has to be a barrier, right? Natural would be like the withdrawal method. Surgical would be like having your tubes tied, or what we call tubal ligation, or having your what do you call that, a vasectomy for the males. Hormonal would be like taking different birth control pills, right? Or even using a hormonal IUD. Now 41, ovulation is the process by which an egg is released, so you want to look for that. So a female becomes pregnant, that is conception, most likely fertilization. Or would that be copulate? No, that's different. A male and a female gamete fuse, that's fertilization. An egg is implanted in the uterus, that's implantation. And a mature egg is released into the oviduct or your fallopian tubes, right? That's ovulation. Item 42 refers to the following diagram, which shows a process occurring in humans. So the process illustrated above, alright, it's either mitosis or meiosis, and if you look on it, 2 diploid cells, it's mitosis, but let's just rule out some first. Cell transport and cell transmutation, ain't it? So again, you have a 50% chance of getting this right. Mitosis or meiosis. Now, first of all, the giveaway here is the 2 diploid cells. In meiosis, you form 4 haploid cells, right? So yeah, there are some other differences, but I guess just look at what's the dead giveaway here. So yeah, 42 is A. 43 chromosomes are made up of protein and DNA. Okay. Which of the following shows correct examples of genetic and environmental variation? Genetic height, environmental tongue rolling, B, tongue rolling, B, height, environmental height. Definitely, height is genetic, full on genetic. But it can be influenced by environmental, given that you can actually have people who can actually have like injuries that causes one leg to be shorter than the other one, therefore shifting their height than the one that they were born with. But that ain't the point right here. So eye color is also genetic, so you don't want to go that route. Now the problem I'm having with this, I'm seeing height here for genetic, eye color here for genetic, and tongue rolling for both environmental. Now tongue rolling, there's a little debate as to whether tongue rolling is genetic or environmental, but I would go environmental because people can teach themselves how to roll their tongues. So yeah, so whichever one you want to choose, really, A or Z. I don't know which one CSEC has as their answer, but if you think differently, just tell me in the comments. 45 refers to the following genetic cross, which shows the inheritance of blood groups in humans. Allele A and B are codominant to each other, and both are dominant to O. Alright, so basically codominant means that you'll show both a phenotypic mix of A and B, and that means that if you have AO, you'll show A characteristics over O, and if you are BO, you'll show B characteristics over O. But if you have AB, you'll show a mix of both A and B. Hence why it says they're codominant, right? So for example, if A is for red, let me use, and B is yellow. If you're AB, you look orange. So because if you mix red and yellow, you get orange. If you're AO, you'll be red, and if you are BO, you'll be yellow. So I hope that was a bit clearer. So here we're looking at the parental genotype, and F1 generation would be the first generation of and the genotypes, which we're seeing as K, L, M, and N. Fertilization going on here, which are the passing on of the alleles. So you know that whenever fertilization or sexual reproduction takes place, you get one allele from your mom and the other from your dad. So this person can either be, for example, AB, AO, BO, write it in that way. We write recessive alleles last. It's just a thing. BO. I don't like how I wrote that. Bro, like you giving me problems. BO and OO. Which I really don't know what OO would be because they didn't tell me that. They didn't even tell you anything though. So, which of the following offsprings inherited the homozygous recessive allele? The one with OO, so that would be N. So you can either be homozygous recessive, heterozygous, or homozygous dominant. So homozygous dominant would mean you have the same allele, but you have to have two dominant alleles. So you could either be AA or BB. If you're heterozygous, hetero meaning different, you'll have AO or AB or BO, sorry. And if you're homozygous recessive, you'll have both recessive alleles, which would be OO. We're told that A and B are dominant over O, so O would be the recessive allele, right? So to be homozygous recessive, you need both O's from both parents. So you'll take one O from your mother here and the other O from your dad here. And unfortunately, N did that. So that would mean that whatever disease that thing codes for, that allele O codes for given that it's an autosomal recessive disease, then child N would have the disease. The ones that are AO and BO would only be carriers of the disease, but seeing that A and B are dominant over O, they'll only be carriers of the disease, but they won't show phenotypic expressions of the disease. And AB, in this case, that's the only thing you can actually get. AB in this case right here would mean that you're neither a carrier of the disease, nor do you show neither do you have the disease. So yeah. SEMA has the following signs or symptoms: constriction of bronchial tubules, coughing, and wheezing. That sounds like pneumonia, but no, that's a lie. Pneumonia, it's probably asthma. Which of the following is she likely suffering from? It sounds like asthma to me. That's the main purpose of asthmatic pumps, or the pumps. They actually, the gas helps your bronchial tubes to relax and open so that air can pass through. And wheezing, so that sounds like asthma to me. Malaria, definitely not. Typhoid comes with coughing and such, but ain't that either. Tuberculosis comes with bleeding. So yeah, best answer I see there is asthma. Hypertension does not occur as a result of obesity, anemia, arteriosclerosis, or high cholesterol levels. Definitely anemia. Like, anemia is more likely it's an iron deficiency, so that ain't have nothing to do with hypertension. Hypertension is high blood pressure, if you didn't know, right? High blood pressure. And risk factors are like obesity, from not having a poor diet, or even genetics. Arteriosclerosis, poor diet. High cholesterol, poor diet, right? Items 48 to 49 refers to the following terms: antibody, antibiotic, antitoxin, and antiserum. Now, in answering, you can use the terms once, more than once, or not at all. So which term refers to a protein produced by blood plasma cells derived from B lymphocytes? That's antibodies. Antibodies are used to fight infections and germs. So A, produced by the B lymphocytes. Some T lymphocytes help out as well, but hey. 49, substance released by the body to neutralize harmful chemicals produced by microorganisms. That sounds like antibiotics or antitoxins. Let me check. Alright, so I found antiseptic, which actually makes a lot of sense. So I'd go with antibiotics, but no, antitoxins, because antibiotics are solely for bacteria, I think. Yeah, only for bacteria. And antitoxins are for toxins overall. And harmful chemicals are toxins. So yeah. 50, which of the following diseases causes severe diarrhea and abdominal pain? The answer for this is typhoid. Yeah. Ringworm is a fungus, gonorrhea is an STI or STD, tuberculosis, as I said, something like pneumonia, but it comes with bleeding and such. Yeah. Typhoid. Item 51 refers to the following diagram, which shows the stages in the life cycle of a mosquito. The life cycle of a mosquito. Which of the following stages are found in or on water? Let's go through the stages first, shall we? So we have the egg, adult. Hold on, let me get my pen. The egg. This is the adult. This is the larva, LAVA, and this is the pupa. Larva, water. Pupa, I believe water as well, and I would go with 2 eggs as well. So let's see. Most of the life cycle is spent in water. Once they become an adult, they fly and become pests, sucking your blood and thing. So 2, 3, and 4. The answer for this is D. what type of immunity is acquired from antibodies that are produced when a vaccine is administered. So this is definitely artificial active, so just look for that. I think I have a table that I never forgot the table. I never forgot the table. Beriberi is an example of a disease that is classified as a nutritional deficiency. Beriberi is caused by the deficiency of thiamine, which is vitamin B1. So it's a nutritional deficiency. Hereditary diseases would be like diabetes. Pathogenic would be like those infections that you get. And sexual transmitted like gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes. Which of the following gases is produced in a landfill site? I'll go with methane. Yeah, definitely not steam or ozone. And oxygen is a nana. Which is the effect of carbon monoxide on the human body? Carbon monoxide actually suffocates you indirectly because it prevents the uptake of oxygen by the blood. Because I guess I don't have to say anymore. But yeah, this is it. The others are no. Lead has a toxic effect on the nervous system and any lethal metal actually. Chlorine bleach can be added to drinking water to actually remove toxins or destroy microorganisms in that way. So the answer for this is C. It's definitely not to improve the taste. Prepare it for filtration. Now you could just filter it and remove unpleasant smell dying while we put it there. So see, which of the following substances contribute to the excess growth of algae in waterways? That's when you add fertilizers, for example, to water. It's called eutrophication. So if you know, fertilizers are called NPKs for some of them really, and that stands for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So by adding these to waterways, you can cause eutrophication, which is the growth of or excessive algae growth in the water. So it will remove oxygen and sunlight and such and cause aquatic animals to die or aquatic organisms overall to die. So nitrates and sulfates ain't it because it's nitrates, phosphorus, or nitrates, phosphates, or potassium. Nitrates and phosphates seem like it, but let's look at the rest. Carbonates, so no. Carbonates, no. So the answer for that is B. 58. Which of the following are effects of releasing untreated sewage into rivers and lakes? Increase in bacteria, yes. Decrease in oxygen, of course, and decrease death of fishes, and yeah. So all three. 59. Which of the following is an example of a non-biodegradable pollutant? Non-biodegradable meaning it can't be broken down biologically. So lead, paper, cotton, sewage. No. The main thing here, sewage definitely. It has all the decomposers available to it. Paper definitely can, and cotton can as well. So the answer for this is lead. And for 60, contamination of water sources is detrimental to humans because the spread of waterborne diseases such as cholera. You know about loving the time of cholera? There was a cholera outbreak one time, and the Spanish flu, and there was also something else. I don't remember. But cholera is the answer for this one. So yeah. So this was the HSB paper. If you think I did one wrong or whatever, link it in the description below, but don't just tell me that you think it's wrong. Tell me why you think it's wrong and I can either agree or disagree or stay neutral, right? So until next time guys, you know what to do. Drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and go follow me on my socials. My socials are linked in the description down below, and don't be afraid to comment what you want me to do next. Until next time, bye guys.